Once again, Cecil County in the world. Welcome back to 30 at 6. We have a repeat performance on the show by Greg Shelton, who was with us a couple months ago, or maybe a month or so ago prior to Christmas. Greg, welcome to 30 at 6.
Thank you very much for having me.
You were talking last time about the European market you were going to do in Chesapeake City.
Yes, correct.
How did that go?
It was wonderful. We had wonderful weather. We had thousands of people show up. Chesapeake embraced the event again. We moved it from our farm in Delaware down to Chesapeake City, and it went incredibly well. And we're ready to get rocking for next year and coming years.
So you are Mr. Event. What's your next event here? It has to do with one of your favorite performers, right?
Absolutely. So it's the show is called Night of Stardust. It's basically a celebration of David Bowie's music. Obviously, I'm a huge fan. And I'm a huge fan of him as a Renaissance man. So he's not just, to me, he's not just a performer. To my son Alex, to my wife Dawn, we look at him as an inspiration from someone who's done acting, modeling, fashion, everything. And as a creator, the guy always tries new things. He was always fearless, and that means the world to me and my family.
And you're putting on a show in Philly at Union Transfer, right?
Correct.
Where is that?
So that's on Spring Garden Street. It's a 1,200 seater, so it's an absolute wonderful venue. It's one of the best places that I've seen to put on a show, and they're wonderful there, and they do a great job and great job of facilitating the concert, because this will be our 5th year doing the show, and we've sold out every single year. So Philadelphia loves their music, and obviously they love David Bowie.
So you found a performer that can sing like Bowie and kind of looks like Bowie, and
so this show is not to go too far into the history, but as a major fan, when Bowie died, I, as in the old band members that I had, we had no idea he was sick. So we were listening to records and things, and all of a sudden, I think it was CNN said David Bowie has died, and we were blown away. And what we did that night, I'll never forget. We got on the phone, had a conference call with my twin brother, all my old bandmates, and we just riffed for probably 2 to 3 hours about what Bowie meant to us. And then that night, I actually made a statement to everybody. I said, we're going to put on a major concert at the World Cafe Live at the Queen. And we did that 3.5 months later. I put together a house band of musicians from the area, and we're able to get 9 vocalists from Delaware, Maryland, Philly, Boston. Again, sold it out. And then before the show, I looked online. There was an article written about a group of huge Bowie fans from the 70s that called themselves the Sigma Kids. And they actually slept. They were basically ultra fans. So they slept outside his recording studio when he recorded the Young Americans record in Philadelphia, and they would travel back and forth from his hotel every single day. And David Bowie knew them. He invited some of them into the studio to be the first to hear the Young Americans record, and he deemed them the Sigma Kids. So I found them, and I sent them a personal message from me, being a personal guest for the Night of Stardust show, and then we became close friends later. And then after that, the team was formed, and we built Philly Loves Bowie.
Well, I've told some of my friends and neighbors about this show, and they're very excited about it. If
Great.
somebody wanted to go, you're telling me it's going to probably sell out.
Yeah, we're
So you can
almost.
still get tickets now, though, right?
You can get tickets on the Union Transfer website at utphilly.com. But I wouldn't recommend anyone think they're going to get in the day of the show. That usually runs out about 3 to 4 days before the show itself.
That's UT Philly, PHILLY.com.
That's correct.
And you can get a ticket to this 5th year of this Bowie tribute.
Correct.
That sounds pretty cool.
Very cool.
And it's in Philly, so you have to drive, but there's plenty of ample parking, right?
Loads of parking. One thing I wanted to mention, I think that's what makes this show a pleasure for me to put on, and something that I'm proud of, is the fact that we've actually several years, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and this year, we've had Bowie members perform at the show with us. So 2 years ago, we had a gentleman by the name of Earl Slick, who was an on and off guitar player for Bowie for 20 years. He also played in John Lennon's 2 solo records. And to me, he's probably one of the last badasses of rock and roll. And he's become a friend of mine from the show. And then the last 2 years, we had Ava Cherry, who's performing this year also. She was Bowie's muse for about 6 to 7 years. She dated David Bowie and was his background singer, and brought Luther Vandross onto Bowie's team to record.
Oh, wow.
Very cool. So we've had several members other than that too, and it's just exciting because it just validates the experience. And two guys I wanted to highlight other than the amazing vocalists and the amazing musicians that do to actually be involved in the show, but my musical director and vocal director are so vital to the success of this show that I feel like everywhere I go, I toot the horn for these guys, because Dan Kaufman's our music director, and Northeast born and raised Lance Davis is also the vocal director, and these guys absolutely kill it, and without them, this thing would be nothing.
Well, I'll tell you what, Cecil County needs to be representing up there in Philly.
Absolutely, and I'm doing it, and I think that to all you mom and dads out there who have kids that are doing music or trying acting or stuff, I can only tell you that I'm proof that if you try hard and teach your parents why you have these passions, parents should get off their butts and support their children and make sure that the arts are always developed and cared for.
Amen.
Absolutely.
What else can we say? This Saturday.
That's it.
utphilly.com. Get your tickets now.
Cecil County has loads of Bowie fans, and you can travel up to Philly. It's not that far away.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.